We are gonna be making something super easy, super delicious, hits all the right spots. So right at the bottom of these little personalized aluminum tins, we are starting off with some ice cream scoops of ricotta cheese. And next, you're gonna take a rubber spatula. We're just gonna spread it all across the bottom. This is gonna be the perfect base for our nice little dinner we're making today. Once we have that all set, we're gonna be taking in some Italian sausage. And this recipe is really versatile. If you don't like doing Italian sausage, you can sub this out for any meat, even a ground beef would probably work best, but you can also do chicken if you want. So go ahead and evenly distribute them across all our little containers. We just want to make sure that all of these are about as even as we can get them. So next, for a little bit of added flavor, we're going to be doing some ravioli. This is the spinach and ricotta flavor. So you can see we have the ricotta right at the very bottom, and then we're going to be doing some ravioli right on top. So I love making this dinner just because it is really easy to make, and then it gets separated into these 4 containers, which is perfect. If you want to save some for yourself later, or if you're cooking for people, they can all get their nice little personalized dish. So right on top of that, for a little bit of greens, we're going to be doing some baby spinach. I usually always pick up the big 1-pound bag just because it is so easy to just kind of use them for different recipes, and then you can seal the bag and reuse them as you need. So we're going to be doing a little handful right on top. This is looking so perfect already. We have our protein, we have our pasta, and we have our veggie. So once we have this all set, it is a little dry right now, so we got to make sure we add some sauce. I'm going to be using this Classico creamy alfredo. And the best thing about these little containers is that we can just kind of pour everything right on over. So I'm going to do a little bit at first. I just want to make sure that we save some so all of them can be nice and saucy. And then if we have a little bit extra, we can kind of go back in and drizzle some more. This is looking so good already. And you can see we don't really need to prep anything. Everything kind of comes already as it is. And then me personally, I like adding in some pepperonis. So you can leave it with just the ground beef or the Italian sausage at the bottom, but I like to switch up the flavors. So we got a little bit more fattiness from the pepperoni, and it just adds a tiny little bit of spice, which I always appreciate in my dinners. So go ahead, we don't have to do a bunch of this pepperoni. Just a few slices just to kind of get the flavors on in there will work nice and perfect. And I've been really loving making these dinners like this, portioned out, because a lot of times I make them for myself and then I can just store them in the fridge or the freezer and just kind of reheat them as needed. So you know what? I'm just going to be doing the rest of this pepperoni because I took it out of the bag already and I really love pepperoni. So this is a win-win in my book. Before this goes into our 350-degree oven, we got to sprinkle on some mozzarella cheese. And this is the real finishing touch. So this cheese is going to give us a nice little cheesy layer right on top. And then everything underneath is going to be cooked to perfection. So I'm really excited for this. I love making these simple recipes, especially Italian inspired, just because I love Italian sausage. I love mozzarella cheese and alfredo sauce. So this is a perfect recipe for me. I'm going to be using the rest of this bag. I like using the Tillamook brand for this recipe just because the pieces of cheese are nice and big, so it melts over really cool. Before we stick this into the oven, we just got to season it a bit, and I'm just going to be using some black pepper just because we have a lot of salt and sodium already from the cheese, the Italian sausage, the pepperoni. So all we need to do is just add some pepper right on top, and then our dish is going to be nice and perfectly seasoned. But you could use whatever seasonings you like. If you like yours to be a little bit more salty, go ahead and throw in some salt. Anything you can think of. Everybody loves a well-seasoned dish. Now that we have this all set, this is going to go into our 350-degree oven for about 15 to 25 minutes. Look at how delicious these look. So I did let them cool a little bit just because they were really hot when I took them out of the oven. But all we need to do is add in some chopped Italian herbs, which is my favorite thing to do, just because it makes it look so pretty. And I love adding finishing touches to my dishes. And this is just so perfect because you can use this for so many recipes. So I always be sure to pick some up. And then we can just go ahead and pick one up. And you can see we got all the cheese that's melted. We got the ravioli and then the creamy ricotta right at the bottom. Let's go ahead and give this one a taste. Here we go, you guys. Bon appetit. So I'm actually going to try a piece of the pepperoni with some of the ricotta cheese and some spinach at first. Oh my God, this is just so creamy. I don't know if you can see the alfredo sauce, but this one is going to be so tasty. The creamy ricotta at the bottom just melts.
Go ahead and give this a taste, you guys. Enjoy.